Here you can see some slices that have already been cut. Okay.
Is that a special blade?
The blade I'm currently using is called a 10-6. I was telling some folks earlier tonight, I used to use what's called a 14-tooth raker, but I don't now. Now I use a 10-6. So it's 10 TPI, but the 6th apparently is a deeper gullet. And that seems just to be working really well for me now, because I'm working with hardwoods. I don't work with any softwoods. And everything's put together with epoxy, so there's a lot of resinous stuff going on. 10-6 seems to be working. Okay. So here are the thin tiles. Okay. And then here it is going to start. We decide what the edges are going to be. Edges are usually either ebony, cocobolo, Brazilian rosewood, zirconi, something like that. Okay. Occasionally boxwood. I like boxwood occasionally too. So now I'm going to stack it up, and you can see what type of a shift's going to happen on it. Okay. That gives you an idea of what the movement is. So when I build, these are helical mosaics that we're building now, and helical mosaics have the shift. They have a slide motion, and they make things that look like this, which you guys are all going to come up and look at. Lots and lots of slices. The helicals are the most difficult of what I make, and there it is right there. Remember that little bowl is this big, and here it is. That's got 1,000 pieces of wood in it. But who's counting? I can't. Well, one's off the bandsaw, but there's always one that's been jointed. You joint the block between each cut. And I usually try to pivot the block, too, in order to try to minimize discrepancies. Sometimes that's successful, sometimes that's not successful. That's what's the word I want? My signature piece, the chevron. And here it is. Here's a little tiny helical bowl. That bowl was about an inch by an inch and a half. Okay. And then was the bowl, you saw that earlier, with 1,200 pieces in it. Okay. So I have 3 different families that I build. The family we were just talking about are the helicals. They are the most difficult, and the ones with the thinnest slices are the helical mosaics. So now, but we still, and we've taken 25 slices of that great big block. We've taken 25 slices for the helicals, but we still have block left. So now we're going to push the fence over. We're going to take thicker slices, and now we're moving from helicals to the linear mosaics. Okay, so moving ahead. These are linear mosaic tiles now. It's the same material, it's just sliced thicker. And maybe now there's 11 slices. Marking, you can go ahead, please. Marking the material, you can see the arrowhead. That's critical, because you really want to keep the grain in line. Even though you're going to be shifting it, you're going to be moving it, it's important that it stay in line. Well, it's important to me that it stays in line. Okay. So this is just an alternate. We tried to take pictures of me doing this, but it didn't work out real well. Here you are, my photographer. Anyway, so there it is. These are the tiles we're looking at. So the first thing we're doing was we're just doing this. Okay. And then you can go ahead to the next picture, and the next picture, and the next picture, and the next picture. Okay, so this is the fun part. Okay, again. Okay. So now we've taken. Go back, please. Do you see how I'm offsetting this edge now? If I don't do anything, I'm going to get this. And there's nothing the matter with this. This is a fine thing. This is good. I like it. I'll glue it up. It'll be beautiful. But I can also do more. And I can do more by doing the shifting. And that's what that's showing right there, okay? And you can all come play with this when we're done here. So I'm shifting it over, and I'm liking what I'm starting to see there. So if I decided that I like that, and I'm going to glue that up, I would then cut, on the odds, I would cut these ends off here. On the even numbers, I'd cut those ends off there, and it would become square again. It would make it very easy to glue up, and it would register right up. I'm seeing, I can stand wherever you want. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was hoping I was going to get a pointer. You know, one of those pointers. Yeah, laser pointer. Is this good? Are we good now? Okay. Anyway, did we get clear on that, or did it get kind of like mud? Okay, good, okay. Okay, so we saw that we could just, we could do them end for end, and that was one thing. We could do them end for end and then do a little slide, and that was one thing. Okay, oh, I like it. Okay, let's move ahead first with my laser pointer here. Okay, so now we're going to do a 90-degree rotation on these tiles. And we're trying to show that, and it's just another pattern. And it's a really beautiful pattern. The bracelet I mentioned earlier that I thought I channeled Frank Lloyd Wright is a 90-degree rotation. And there's the 90-degree rotation. Okay, when it flips over, you're going to see it, and like that's going to be stunning. That's going to be a really, really good-looking bracelet. Or a bowl. And it doesn't really know what it's going to be yet. It could be a bracelet or a bowl. Okay, next. I'm trying to put this back together here. Anyway, so that's what it looks like. Oh, and you can still see what's left of the V. Everything's in time. Okay, so these are just different glue-ups that have happened. You can see this one, it's a straight, it's the same block, cut straight. It hasn't been altered at all. It's just had dyed veneer, but put between each layer. Here you've got the slight offset, and here is a 90-degree rotation. Back there, that's a helical. And those three on that side are what I call the simple bracelet. Okay, moving ahead. Again. Okay, again. Let's see where we are. So these are now linear mosaics. This bracelet was on the back of the AAW magazine in December of 14. That was great kudos to me. I was very proud of that. I brought copies. And that bracelet is here. It's right here tonight. Okay.
You just cut those out of the block on the bandsaw?
Actually, those cuts were not bandsaw cuts. Those cuts were cut on the chop saw.
I mean, to make the bracelet.
Yes. Those, instead of, I'm using the bandsaw for a lot of my helicals, for the very fine ones, which I call jewel tone, the very, very fine ones. But you'll also see some helicals that look more like beadwork. And when they look like beadwork, that's because those are chop saw cuts. And because they're chop saw cuts, you get to look at side grain. And side grain is what has all that brilliance. And that's why it looks like that, because you're looking at side grain. However, the first rule that they told me, is that you could never glue end grain to end grain. Well, that's an end grain to end grain glue. But I have really good epoxy. I flow it with thin epoxy, and then I hit it with thick epoxy, literally trying to fill all those straws with epoxy. So when people keep asking me, you know, it depends upon which one we're looking at, whether it's a bandsaw cut or a chop saw cut.
Some of your photos, you had a hole in the center of the block.
Yep.
I think that was for alignment.
Yes,
Some of them didn't have the hole.
that's right.
What was the reason?
Linear mosaics don't need the hole because they're linear and they just go in with a 90-degree block. You know, they're just blocked up. The helicals have the slide, and they have to have the hard. You couldn't do it without a cylinder. Yeah, you couldn't do it. Any other questions? Yeah.
So then you get your circular shape, you're turning that on the lathe?
That's right. Yeah, that gets turned on the lathe. Yeah, yep. Okay, going ahead. That's that same design, but now it's just a bowl. Okay. That's the one we were talking about. That's Frank. Frank's right here. Okay. Oh, go ahead. Next one. That's a really cute little bowl, and it had this little angled bottom, so it kind of presented itself real nice. That was done quite a long time ago in one of the very first of this new cross-cutting of the Brilliant series. Okay, you get great geometrics on it. Just another linear bowl. That one is also about an inch by about an inch and a half. Okay, 300 pieces. And then, of course, you can always use linears in the neck of the spice mills. Okay. Okay, so now to the lathe. Okay, you've done the sliding or the bowl, you know, however you built it, and now it's going to the lathe. This is my machinist lathe. You can see the cutter here. That was designed a long time ago, and we just have a couple of those cutters made. So what I do is I just rough cut. You know, it was square. I mean, I just rough cut off those corners and they go flying. But then, okay, we can go ahead. Then I'll take it and I'll make a more finished cut. That's a better picture, perhaps, of the cutter. Okay. And there it is actually cutting. Okay. And then after it gets finished there, I don't think I showed pictures of this, but I'll take it from the machinist lathe, now I'll take it over to the jet mini lathe, and I'll sculpt it or whatever I'm going to do, if it's going to get sculpted or slightly rounded or whatever. And then it comes back, okay. Yeah, it's been rounded now. You can see the edges, they've been rounded. Okay. And that's the design, okay. Oh, so it didn't show it, but go back, please. Go back one more. So now we would bring in the cutter, and we would cut in through here, and we cut halfway through. And what's so great about the compound is that you just roll it right back out, you undo it, put it back in, and it goes right back in. You don't get any weirdness in the cut.
Is that a bracelet then?
That's a bracelet. That's a bracelet. Okay. Okay. And then after it literally gets cut off, then I take it to the spindle sander. Okay. Oh, and then frequently I do my edges just on the little router table. At least the majority of the edge. Okay. And there's 5 of them that have been. They've had finish on them, and they're on their little rack drying. Epoxy finish. Okay. And those are just more glue-ups like we just saw a few minutes ago.
How do you apply the epoxy finish?
Fingers. Wipe on. So I have a dozen bracelets ready to go. I mix up epoxy. I pour the epoxy out. I take fingers. I put them on. And I just wipe it on, gooey. And then after I have all dozens, I always use gloves. And then after I've got all dozen done, then I go back and with paper towel, I paper towel off. Wipe on, wipe off. And then I let it set up at least overnight, if not longer. And then I buff it out on the lathe at 400. And then I hit it with a coat of wax. But, you know, any of those bracelets that ended up as bracelets could have been bowls. And if they are bowls, I was always very afraid to try to learn how to turn a bowl until Bonnie Klein explained to me about how to make those jobby-doos. I don't even know what they call them, but they're here.
Woodworking.
You get the hardware from Tacoma Screw, and this needs to get surfaced, and we'll get another piece of material, like maybe maple on it, surface that off, and then I put little tiny grooves in it, and it's just so fast, so easy, and it's so secure that once I learned that, thank you, Bonnie, that it was like, oh, I can move ahead now. I can, yeah. So I use this all the time now. This bowl is here tonight. It lived like that for a long time because I just couldn't figure out what to do with it. But then it finally revealed itself to me, and it's right here, and it turned out quite sweet. The other bowl is also here. We've already looked at it tonight. And this bowl lives someplace. I have no idea where anymore. Okay, moving ahead. Oh yeah, sometimes I make big bowls. It's not my forte, but that's made out of these bigger tiles. You know, that's what made that bowl. Okay. Oh, and I also make remembrance vessels, and these are little threaded boxes. It's pretty much sacred work. I like doing this. Okay. Next one. And when you unscrew it, sometimes I put artwork now in the bottom. Okay. Okay, we're down to just a little bit more, folks. So my working size is 3.5 by 16, but sometimes we do 1 inch and 5/8 by 16. But sometimes, because you end up with scrap, you know, you're not going to just throw it away. So now I've got a bunch of stuff that I've milled up and just kept, and now it's at about 5/8, 3/4 by 16. So this is the way I glue it up. And it has lots of uses. It can become simple bracelets or whatever. And so it's the same procedure, but now I put it inside this block that I have, this working board. That's just showing you 5 different species. It shows you the maple veneer has been dyed. And I'll glue up 3 of them at a time, maybe even 4 of them at a time. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one gets wrapped up in the wax paper so it doesn't get glued to the first one. Okay. Again, and then here comes the third one. So I'm doing 3 different glue ups now at one time. And then it just comes up with a board here and some C-clamps. 5/8 is pretty, 5/8 is pretty close to 3/4. So a three-quarter board will work. But now when you start getting down to 1/2 inch, or you get down to 3/8, and you want to glue up pieces that are 3/8 by 3/8 or 3/8.5, it gets a little more tricky. But you can still use the same fixture, but instead of using clamps, because the clamps will tilt, they'll break up, use just wedges, and just wedge it together. Okay. Okay. Ripping, yep, C-clamps or bar clamps, okay. And that glue up made that bracelet. So that's my simple glue up. But actually, remember that was like 3/4 by 16? So after it got surfaced, and then I cut it in half to make that bracelet. But that's as close as I get to production. So now I'd have 2 pieces of laminate that are identical, because of the glue up we just did. But I'll put Brazilian rosewood on one pair and something else on another pair. And so now I'm going to have 4 bracelets that are going to look like that. They'll be different sizes, and I'll have 4 bracelets that the laminate's the same, but the edges will be different, and they'll be different sizes. Very good. I like it. He's nodding his head. Oh. And then these are salt and peppers, and they come right out of the center of that bracelet. because you had that center left over, but but you cut it on the 45. And then when you cut it on the 45, you get this nice, interesting pattern. Oh, and my battery's running low. Okay, we're getting really close now. Okay, okay, we're almost done. We just have a little tiny bit left. Okay, this is a different laminate. This is for box adornment. Okay. Okay, so you know what's going on in the middle. You know, you got your 5 different species of wood, but this one now has great big, in this case, maple wings. And the maple wings are important. It doesn't matter. It can be maple, cocoa, or walnut, whatever it is you want. But it needs big wings now. Okay, here it is. It's getting sliced up. Okay, moving right ahead. Okay, again. Oh yeah, we're sanding it real lightly between each pass. Okay, and there we have half a dozen of them. Okay, and now, guess what we're going to do? I bet you guys couldn't figure this out, right? What do you think we're going to do with these things? We're going to offset them. You bet. If we wanted to, we could put colored veneer between each layer and offset them, or not. Or we could just flip them over and do sort of a geometric thing. Okay, but here you have options. I love options. I love options. Okay, so and here it is in Cocobolo. And there it is. And this piece is here for you tonight to look at. And then there it is as a linear mosaic in Cocobolo. Thank you. Oh yeah, just leave it there. Just leave it there. I like to end with that. That is such a cool bottle.
What kind of glue do you use?
I use a jeweler's epoxy. It's from a company called RBC, and they're in Warwick, Rhode Island. And I use resin 1000, hardener 95, and if you decide to get it, please use my name. Yes?
When you cut your thin slices on the bandsaw,
Yes.
you said you jointed the block between each cut.
Yes,
So the rough cut, you just glue that in? Or?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Sometimes, well, I'll have my hand block there with 80 grit, and I'll kiss it with 80 grit. But I mean, I'm not there sanding it. You know, it's pretty good.
Thank you.
What's your working time on the block?
Forever. No, it's really good.
When you set it up?
Yeah, it's good. I don't know. Well, it depends upon how hot it is. I mean, the heat of summer, it can kick. It can definitely kick in the heat of summer. But I can easily work it for 40 minutes, maybe? 25, 40 minutes? What I do is, so I'm going to glue up a lot. So I usually work with like 60 grams. And so maybe I need 3 cups of 60 grams. Well, I won't, they'll be prepared, but I'll only stir the first one. And the other 2 will sit with the resin on top until I'm ready for it, and then I'll stir it and then go on. Okay. Another question? Okay.
Martha, I'm not sure everyone knew Rudd, and most of us here know that land.
Okay.
Maybe people might not know how to even spell it, but it doesn't mean it's hard to hear what
Okay, it's the lacquer is called Rudd, R-U-D-D, and it's right out of Seattle. And it's about $8 for a spray can. And you can come in either satin or high gloss. And it's really wonderful. It's really good. Any other questions? Yeah. You always ask hard questions. The resin's 1,000, so the hardener's 95. And you know, if you decide to deal with RBC, I really would appreciate it if you let them know that you've heard about it through me. I like to let him know that I'm out here doing it for him. I don't think he really cares, but it makes me feel good. Okay, so hopefully everybody can get up here. You have lots to look at. Oh, so I wanted to say a couple of things. So Up here, there are tags saying, linear mosaic, bold mosaic, whatever. And then there's this tag called family. Family means it's all out of the same block, okay? So these two bowls are a family. They're out of the same block, but they look entirely different. This bowl and these bracelets are all out of the same block. And, so I have a linear mosaic bracelet and a helical and the bold mosaic and then the bowl. And over here, this is the same laminate, but what I'd like you to see here is also the difference of very, very thin slices versus thick slices. And I call your attention to the very center, which has boxwood paired up with Wenge. It's a beautiful pairing. You certainly want to look at this one underneath the magnifier, so it looks like fabric, and that's kind of like what rings my bell. It's fabric. Well, no, only making wood look like fabric, actually. I mean, I hate fabric. It'd be very strong, but it's just like, it doesn't stay put. How could you cut it? It doesn't stay put. It's not hard. So let's see. Oh, at some point, we saw that little bowl. I think maybe I carved that out too. Okay, so that's this bowl there. And these two are a family. And there's a bunch of earrings in the back. Oh yeah. Oh, going back to this one that had the boxwood and the Wenge. So there's the center part of it. And that's going to be really a beautiful ring and a beautiful pendant. So you get a chance to look at that too. Okay. That's right. Yep.
Get out the inside statement.
Well, yeah.
You don't just turn it all the way.
Oh. I have boxes. And what do you think that is?
Cut out of the bracelet.
That's right. That's right.
How do you hold the bracelet? Looks like you have a time on the side holding it. How do you hold the bracelet to
In the joiner? You mean when I'm turning it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a threaded rod going through it with washers and nuts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my mandrel. That's how I hold it. It's just the way I was taught, and it works. Right. I do. Yeah, I do. Thank you. Yeah. Here it is. Yep. Okay. I am here to answer all your questions. Thank you. I do have a couple more things to say. One is a great thank you to John Elliott, who has helped me many times over the years, and also to Dan Ackerman. I am in a transition point now in my career, where I'm not doing so many national shows, and I'm moving more to teaching and giving classes like this and lecturing. So if you have some feedback to me, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay.